Are new tariff stimulus checks coming under President Donald J. Trump? That's the burning question millions of Americans are asking right now. So, what's really happening? Let's break it down step by step. Tariff stimulus checks coming? New bill seeks tax rebates for U.S. workers. Yes, you heard that right. This headline isn't speculation anymore. It's tied to an official piece of legislation that was recently introduced. And the scale of what's being discussed is massive. Millions of Americans could soon see rebate checks ranging anywhere from $600 to as high as $2,000, depending on final adjustments and the level of tariff revenue collected this year. Imagine that, money directly back in the pockets of working-class and middle-class Americans, at a time when inflation, rising interest rates, and household debt are crushing family budgets. Now, why does this matter? Because President Donald J. Trump himself recently addressed the topic in public.
Well, we're going to pay down debt. We have a lot of money coming in, much more money than the country's ever seen, by hundreds of billions of dollars. And there could be a distribution or a dividend to the...
During an exchange with reporters, he was asked about the billions flowing in through tariffs. His answer surprised many. Trump acknowledged that the U.S. Treasury is taking in historic amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars, in his words, thanks to reciprocal tariffs imposed on foreign imports. And while part of that revenue will go toward paying down the national debt, Trump didn't shut the door on distributing a portion directly to Americans. In fact, he said a dividend for middle-income and lower-income families could be possible. That comment set the stage for what happened next. Hawley introduces legislation to send rebate checks to working Americans today. U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican Missouri, introduced the American Worker Rebate Act, legislation that would send rebate checks to working Americans following the historic revenue accrued through President Trump's tariff policy. That's the exact language from Hawley's office. And it immediately sent shockwaves across the political world. For many households, it sounded like the beginning of a new stimulus era, one based on trade policy rather than emergency rescue packages. Let's take a closer look at what's inside this bill and how it could affect you. What is the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025? The American Worker Rebate Act proposes sending out direct payments, also known as rebate checks, to U.S. workers and their families. The payments would be funded entirely by tariff revenues collected on imported goods. Here are the key points. $600 minimum rebate per adult and dependent child. A family of 4 could receive up to $2,400 under the initial framework. If tariff revenues exceed current projections, payments could be higher than $600, possibly closer to $2,000 per person. The structure of eligibility mirrors the stimulus checks sent during the pandemic. Individuals making $75,000 or less qualify for the full amount. Couples making $150,000 or less qualify for the full amount. Payments phase out gradually above those thresholds, with a 5% reduction applied. This means millions of households who previously received federal relief during COVID-19 would once again qualify. Why tariffs and why now? The United States has been collecting tens of billions of dollars each month through tariffs. According to Trump and his administration, this is revenue that should benefit American workers directly. Senator Hawley argues that after years of failed Biden policies, families deserve immediate relief. In his words, hardworking Americans should see the benefits of tariff revenue, not just Washington bureaucrats. This approach is politically strategic as well. Instead of adding to the deficit through borrowed stimulus, the rebate checks would be funded by money already flowing in, money collected from foreign companies exporting to the U.S. In simple terms, tariffs tax imports, and that money is now being repurposed to help American families. In fact, during the pandemic, multiple stimulus packages passed with bipartisan support. And while Washington is more divided today, tariff-funded rebates present a different argument. They don't increase the deficit and can be marketed as returning money to the people. Some experts believe that even if the final amount isn't $2,000 per person, a $600 to $1,200 rebate has a very strong chance of moving forward. Trump's position. President Trump has already hinted at his support. His exact words were that a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice. He emphasized that with the scale of tariff revenue coming in, there's enough to reduce national debt and send dividends to the American people. This dual message, responsibility with debt plus direct relief for families, could be a powerful combination politically. Who would benefit the most? Low-income households, families making under $50,000 would see the full amount and likely spend it immediately on necessities like food, rent, utilities, and medical bills. Middle-income households, those earning between $50,000 to $100,000 would still benefit substantially, helping with credit card debt, student loans, or savings. Families with children, with dependent credits included, larger households could receive $2,400 or more, which is significant relief. This isn't just about cash, it's about stimulating local economies. Money distributed this way tends to circulate quickly, boosting small businesses and local services. Could payments go up to $2,000? Right now, the bill guarantees at least $600 per person, but here's the wild card: tariff revenue. If revenue outpaces current forecasts, the rebate amount could automatically increase. Some analysts are lobbying for the number to be raised to $2,000 per adult, matching what millions received during the pandemic stimulus rounds. That's why you'll hear many commentators and advocates pushing the slogan $2,000 or bust. The political battle ahead supporters argue, families need relief now. Tariff revenue belongs to the American people. Rebates are fair, efficient, and immediate. Opponents, however, raise concerns. Will rebates fuel inflation again? Should tariff revenue be used for debt reduction instead of direct payments? Will this become a permanent expectation every year? These questions will shape the debate in the weeks to come. What happens next? The bill will go through the standard legislative process: introduction in the Senate, committee review where details may be amended, debate and vote in both the Senate and the House. If passed, it heads to the president's desk for signature. At each stage, the dollar amounts could change. The $600 baseline might rise, or income thresholds might shift. What's clear is that momentum is building and millions of Americans are watching closely. Why this could be different from past stimulus, unlike pandemic checks, which added trillions to the deficit, this plan is funded by existing revenue. That makes it more politically palatable, especially to fiscal conservatives. It's also framed not as emergency aid, but as a rebate, a return of money generated through tariffs. This branding matters. Americans tend to support policies that feel like they're getting their money back. So where does this leave us? A new bill is officially on the table. At least $600 per person is being proposed, possibly more. Families could see $2,400 or higher, depending on household size. The proposal is tied directly to tariff revenue, not new debt. This is a developing story, and the outcome will depend on how Congress and the administration handle the next steps. For millions of families struggling with grocery prices, energy bills, and housing costs, even $600 could make a meaningful difference. And for those pushing for $2,000, the fight is just beginning. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you directly, do you support $600 rebate checks, or should Congress raise it to $2,000? Drop your answer in the comments with the phrase, "I support $2,000 stimulus," if you believe families deserve more. And don't forget, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, veteran benefits, stimulus checks, food stamps, and all federal and state assistance programs. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next update very soon.